Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Motivate, Grind, Succeed podcast, the show that gives you 100% fluff-free, guaranteed, practical and useful tips with every single episode so you can live up to your true potential. No spam, no long intros, just pure information to help get you going. If you're new to the show, welcome, and I know you're going to get a ton of value from today's episode. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back. I missed you. I love all of you. You all are fantastic people. Quick favor to anybody who is listening, new or returning. If at any point in time in this episode you get some value, share it with somebody. Let's spread this word. Let's spread the knowledge. Let's spread the wisdom. We're all here to grow together. Let's all grow together. And so with all of that out of the way, let's get started with this week's episode. And today we have a special guest joining us today, Michaell Magrutsche. Michaell is a multimedia artist, educator, author of 5 art-related books. That's impressive, man. 5 books? I have a whopping 0. So that's you're looking pretty good. Podcaster. Hey, fellow podcaster, look at that. Coach, creative advisor, and a former Newport Beach Arts Commissioner, fluent in German and English. Wow, look at you, man. Michaell is what you would call an outside-of-the-box thinker. He has resolved the paradox of why are 95% of the world's wide artists around the poverty level and therefore should be proud to be poor. Without creativity, there are no man-made systems, and there would be no world today as we know it. And so the solution that he found was that he discovered patterns within art that foster creative communication and that identify art values outside of any systems, which always help to raise our human potential. And so with all that, fantastic. Michaell, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, sir?
Hi, Rashaan. I'm so happy to be at your place. This was the best intro I ever had. And so I am happy to be here and happy that you give me the canvas to paint, basically. So I think we will co-create a beautiful episode. And I'm coming from art. You come from technology. So we'll prove something in this episode. So let's see where we're going with this.
Absolutely. And as all the episodes usually go, it's going to be kind of a free-flowing conversation. Like I said, I usually have the guiding questions here on my right here. So if you see me looking over, I'm looking at some of the notes that I've taken. But for everybody else who's listening and just for us as well, free-flow conversation, we're not trying to do anything like that. We're just trying to have just a nice, genuine, fun conversation. So with all that out of the way now, let's start with how I usually start with every single guest here, so we can get to know you a little bit better. I gave your intro as well, but only you can really tell your story the best that you can. So if you want to give us a little bit more of an introduction as to what you do, maybe go more into depth about what you do or anything, the floor is yours, just a little information just to help us to get to know you a little bit better.
Yes, and I would say this is the first lesson that I learned in my long life, that I couldn't fit in any system. So I can very much relate to anybody that is outside the system or cannot fit in or isn't the majority. I couldn't fit in at all, meaning I was a sick child, I had asthma, eczema, it was just a horror. When I went to school with 7, a year later, I couldn't understand anything. Because I'm dyslexic and I'm also dysgraphic. My hand-eye coordination doesn't function correctly. So I can still, for example, cannot still read my writing. So when I write, I see it right now, but if I go tomorrow and look at it, I can't read it. So
wow.
Yeah, so that's why, but it's great. Hey, we have computers. That's not even a handicap or anything, but it was a handicap to not fit in. And I still don't really fit in because I have no education. I have, GED high school, economic high school, and I have never was a system navigator, and I wasn't a rebel, but I couldn't fit and understand it and comprehend it. And the systems were not just made for me, because as you know, man-made systems are very limited. They're not like humans. I have no problem with humans. My whole life, humans saved my life through my life and helped me and interacted with me, and we help each other, But I couldn't fit into any systems, and from 6 years on, I was an artist from 6 years on, and I didn't even know that. I was conscious when I was like 35, when I looked at my resumes and said, oh my God, I did everything. So I guess I don't have to wait for the system to tell me I'm an artist. I am an artist because, you look at all the resumes all the jobs that I have. And so I was upset because I saw more and more how art was actually helping me to cope, to be a human being, to be included in society, in the artist's world at least,
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't I'm still not a famous artist but I love art, and I discovered that everybody is an artist. I made classes that taught people art, and I made my own. I got a grant for making alternative art education because I made a lot of sense for people that gave me the money, and I did that, and that was in 2015. I started a movement that's called the self-aware artist movement, and a self-aware artist is basically an artist that knows why he does something. He knows what he does, he knows why he does it, and he can communicate it to others so that they understand it. So basically, it's not just, this comes out of me, you put your title on it. I call it untitled. Art is in the eyes of the beholder. No. You need to know where this comes from, what it means for you. It doesn't need to mean that for you, but for yourself, you need to know, why am I choosing this color? Why am I choosing this? And you dive deep into that, and that gives you your motivation. That you say, of the motivation that gives you that passion, because you're just not a bystander that looks at this stuff, but you understand. Oh, hey, that's me. That's who I am. And I know why I'm doing this. This is not just some magic thing that comes from somewhere and we don't know what to do, but you know why you're doing what you do. And then you put it in words and you communicate it. Music, poetry, painting, any art form. And so what I learned in all this, my whole journey was, it's an inherent superpower, art and creativity, because everything, also in technology, without creativity, there's nothing on this earth. And because everything we create is the wheel, from the wheel on to whatever, the iPhone, to Nike and Apple, to the war in Russia and Syria. We create, everything is creative, And I thought, oh my God, that is such a superpower. How can it be that the highest form, because without a purpose, technology has a purpose, to do something, use your creative muscle to do it. It's almost like use your hands to lift stuff. So but your hands are here for communicating, for touching, for so many other things. But so using creativity only for a thing. And I thought, why is the highest form of creativity, which is art, which is basically creating a piece of art, which is basically the communication of your inspiration into the physical. So you have an inspiration. I feel like green, right? And you say, I need to do something in green. And there's some red there too, and so you have a conversation with your imagination, with your higher self, and that reflects when you create this. Then it reflects that. If it reflects that conversation, it has nothing to do if you can use it or not, because art wants to just be created and exposed. So it doesn't say you need to make $1 million, you need to live of it. It doesn't say that. And it's the highest form of creation. And I couldn't understand, especially because it helped me so much, that why are 95 to 97% of worldwide artists on the poverty level? And I just couldn't make sense out of it. And my last book, the last book that I wrote, is Smart of Art, I dissected it. So I used the writing the book to give me clarity. And I dove into all the different, like you say, motivation, grind, succeed. I separated it. I separated it out to understand. And I found out that the art world that we know today is basically, it's the art business. It's an art business. And why is it like this? Why is it different than when you ask a plumber what to do and the plumber says, I give you a wash basin and piping and it costs $5,000? Is because you don't know, artists have never defined themselves. And the system, society, religion, politics were never in a position to appreciate art. They were appreciating art. They say, okay, this is a great statue. I want that. But they decided how much to pay. Michelangelo, right? So he lived in the church. They helped them. They were patrons. Mozart, the dukes and the duchess and whatever, they say, hey, live in one of my 500 rooms and the kitchen is going to give you some food and at night you play me something, So we have never, from our heritage, we have never defined ourselves, what we're doing and why, So everybody knows that reading is good, and writing is good, but nobody knows why art is good. They say, okay, it's great. And you feel it, obviously, because we are all interconnected. Art is one that shows you that you're interconnected. So I couldn't figure that out. And I found the reason out. We never defined ourselves. The society, the systems were always put into the position to pay a talent. And the problem with talents, most talents are upset about. And that's what Jay-Z switched, flipped the switch. It's always, look at Formula One, look at the races. They're like the gladiators, but the company makes the money, Even if they get a lot for one person, they are not, the big business is not the salary of that one talent. And so we were never, and I want to change that. And I am changing it because I would like to, because I give you a very current example. So we know that 95 to 97% of artists are poor worldwide. And then why is that? So basically, if you don't have a defined skill for your creativity, like a technician or an architect or whatever, you're basically not valuable for this system. For all the systems, state, government, religion, politics, you just don't have a value. But it's very interesting that when we have war, the first thing that is destroyed is culture. It's the cultural heritage. You see that with the Taliban, you see it with the Syria, and you see it in Ukraine. That's the first thing that's going to be destroyed. And that's why I said we have to define the value, and we can't say, okay, the value is only good if you express yourself the right way, and that's why I would love to integrate the human rights charter, what the human rights of freedom of speech is, to make it to freedom of expression and cultural heritage, that nobody can touch what our ancestors did, so we can relate, and our kids' this is above every system. This is about every state. This is a inherent human right that our kids can look at and say, where did we come from? And we were racist. Of course we were racist. We were chauvinistic because the system is limited and they couldn't separate us in men, woman. It separated us in all races when we did the exploring, and now it separates us in sexuality. And you see in sexuality, but something very interesting, that we are so fluid. There is no right, wrong. There is no, and so the system can't even accommodate that. It's just way overwhelming with the sexuality. The system is already way overwhelmed because every every 2 months a new sexuality comes out, you know? So what I'm saying is, basically we need to refocus on humanity. It's about human, it's not about race, it's not about gender. And we need to say, what do we need? In that, we need nature, we need our habitat, and that's where we can survive and strive. And we are only here for a short time, and in that short time, we're not taking advantage of that planet. It's like an island. You don't come on Earth, you plunder everything, you destroy everything, you kill everything, and then you die. That is against any human being. Human beings don't do this. System might do this because we wouldn't have wars if there wasn't systems. Systems are made by system leaders that use the systems to get people against each other. So we need a new way of redefining systems to be human adaptive, not human to be system adaptive. So I give you a lot of stuff now, and now we can dive in and explain it.
Yeah, because whew, that's a lot. That is a lot. Because every time I was thinking about something that you were saying, then you brought on a whole nother layer, and I was like, oh boy, he's stacking the layers, man. Okay, all right. Whew. Let's see. Where do we start with this to unpack? Okay. So I guess let's start from then the foundation. So we're talking on some common ground here. So I think you already went on and you kind of defined what you said art should be. I think you were talking about it being like you communicating with your imaginative self. Is that correct?
Yeah. So whatever you think is the matrix, it's the universe, it's God, it's your higher self. You get an inspiration to do something, right? And that's natural intuition. Mm-hmm. You just get it's like you say, hey, I want to do this podcast, you know? It's not because somebody says that to you. It's like you do it because you feel that is. So you get a thought. Where did this thought come from? You know, but it's a conversation, and then you manifest it here. So you're a master manifester. You create a podcast. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe that anybody can honestly, with that terminology, then be a master manifester. Then,
absolutely.
Right? That's because we were talking about that a little bit before we started, before we hit record, and we were talking about like the background of my show and how I came up with the name, right? And for long time listeners, you probably already know the story. But for people who are just first tuning in now, the reason why I named the show what I named the show is because it starts off with motivation, right? And specifically intrinsic motivation, right? Because like I said, I used to be the person who would watch YouTube videos about, like, oh, you need study motivation, watch this, or watch this kind of video, or watch this kind of thing, or read this kind of thing, right? And so like, I know we've all done it. Okay. I'm lying to myself if I said I never watched those things, right? Cause that was my thing in college, right? I thought if I just motivate myself enough, I'll be able to get anything done. And that's not how it works, right? At least not with external or extrinsic motivation, right? Intrinsic motivation is the motivation you find inside yourself. You have to have a why. I don't think I brought this up to you before, but that's what I was getting at with the intrinsic motivation, right? Is that everything that you do, you need a why behind it, right? If you just do it just because you want to do it, like, or just because maybe it might be some kind of shallow reason or whatever reasoning it is, you're not going to stick to it, right? So take this podcast, for example. My goal is to impact as many people in the early college, early career professional field that I can with all this wealth of information on how to become a better version of yourself. Let's say you're struggling with something in something finance related, right? We've had someone in finance come on the show before and talk about different terms of investment. So for somebody who's struggling with finance or struggling with investment, that can be an episode for you to be able to watch, right? And for me, knowing that helped you out, whoever that listener may be, that is the impact that I want to be able to make. So that's my why, being able to impact as many people as possible with the information that I can provide, either from what I've gotten through growing up or through any people that I meet day to day in life. And that then goes into the G part of MGS, which is the grind, right? So we have motivate, now we have grind. Because everything, as we discussed before, Michael, everything requires some discipline. It requires day to day, into anything you do, it's going to require some effort, right? There is no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme. So whoever tells you, oh, you can get rich quick if you just invest like $6,000 into this thing and then you'll get rich within 30 days. No, Okay, and the people who do, and you might see, oh, but they do have the people out there that actually do that. Okay, maybe that might be 1%. Okay, that's probably like 1% of the people that actually do that, and they just got lucky. Maybe all the stars aligned for them, and then everything, all that. Okay, that's like 1%. That's like a one-off case. Most people are not going to see that kind of success. So you have to put in the work, which is the grind, the discipline. Let's say you want to get a great physique. You're going to have to do the exercise. You can't just pray and sit and wish and be like, I hope I get a good physique. It's not going to work. You have to do the work with your diet. You got to do the work with the exercise. You got to do all that over a long stretch of time to see the results. Otherwise, that's an example. I was like that. That's why when people see someone having like a 6-pack set of abdominals, it looks good, because if everybody could get it, then it wouldn't be that impressive, right? Because you worked hard to get that. So, and then that's where it leads to the S, which is the succeed. And this is the part that's the most kind of, if you want to say like pie in the sky, airy kind of thing, because I can't define success for you. Right? Like my definition of what it means to be successful is going to be different than yours, Michael. It's going to be different from whoever's listening on the other side of this episode, or whoever's listening to us in their headphones or speakers or whatever. Success for you can be completely different. Mine will be like impacting as many people as I can with the information that I have and the network that I'm being able to build. Right? Yours might be, I don't know, you want to start up your own gym. Yours might be you want to build a house. You might want to build the next car. You might want to, get that next job promotion at whatever job that you have. Right? Success is what is it for you that you want to be able to do? And then what is the why behind it? And then put in the work to then be able to get to that. So I just wanted to bring that up for people who wanted the background of MGS. And so, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to add to this. I just wrote a long piece, and I can send you that you can add it to the episode, about a deep dive on the human worth, the worth of humans. And in that human thing, I also looked at success, achievement, success, and making money. And these are separate. You can't combine ever. When you combine stuff, it never works. It doesn't mean you're working hard, you're going to be successful. Or you achieve a lot of stuff, and it will happen for you. These extremes that you talked about, that one person has $3,000 made $1 million, right? They are potentials. They are here, I think, as a reflection for humans to see it's possible. That's like why YouTube. You only hear of YouTube or any other platform, the success stories. There's my dyslexia. The success stories. But you never hear that 99.9% don't make anything on those platforms. And you think you're making the prettiest picture of you on Instagram. And it doesn't mean that this Instagram gets likes. And also, they just published, and I love that you're so honest and say, hey, I don't know what success is, because nobody knows what success is. That is, you do something, you are successful, and then people go back and write a book about it. And they think that was their reason, and that's why I say your truth is very good. Their reason why they got a successful. They project on, this was my path, and this is how and since we all can relate, but to copy another person's past does not mean it's going to happen for you. Otherwise, everybody, if there was a pass, like the 6-pack, it wouldn't be big. It wouldn't be special. Nobody would care about it. So, and right. Everybody would have it. Like, look, we built the automobile, and everybody drove an automobile. And it doesn't matter. We built a phone. If there is a solution to something like a car, an iPhone, or a cell phone, the humanity integrates it right away. But so if there was a formula for success, if there was a formula for making money, then humanity would right away implement it, and everybody would have it, because it's not today that you say, okay, socially they don't have cell phones. No. Everybody has cell phones. Everybody has a car. Not a Rolls Royce, not the iPhone, whatever, 280, but everybody has it. Everybody has
Yeah.
Everybody has a thing. So we have three superpowers, and one is creativity. Another one is the human discourse, what you and I do right now, because we both change each other's brain. That's scientifically proven. When we talk, we alter each other's brains while we talk. And you can't even say, no, I'm not gonna alter when I talk to him. It just doesn't work, because this is where we are all inclusive. The power is in the inclusivity, and that's why we have the third superpower, adaptability. So we can adapt to everything. None of our systems would work if we couldn't adapt to them. It's a superpower. We are unbelievably adaptable. We can, withstand the biggest pain and the biggest stress and everything. Look at us, But what I say is, I want to come back to that, success stuff is people, because that's and the grind and the passion. So I think all these things, so fame, success, because they're successful people, they're not famous. They're famous people, they're not successful. They have no interlinkage. We need to take I think the misunderstandings of there is an interlinkage. If you work hard, if you grind really strong, you will get this. No, it's just for you, the grind or the passion, when I paint, that is for you. So if you say, I want to be an artist, a painter, you cannot be a painter if you don't paint. You cannot see it. So the grind is not so much, man, you have to bite it if you want or not. I think the grind is if you want to see it, if you want to see yourself as workout, successful artist, successful technician, you got to do the work to get the feedback of who you are, so that you are the best that you can be, And then the success, I heard the absolute best definition of success. Stay in business as long as you can, just try to survive till luck hits you. And hopefully you get it while you're young. Because there is no formula for success. There is none. It's an energy that happens. And also people see success as different. It is so undefined. It's like saying when birds come back, and then say, I know why they come back, to the same, they fly over thousands of miles and come back. It's all instinct. That's not an answer. It's like, it's success. It's not, success is so undefined, because you can feel so totally successful having a family. You can feel totally successful having a big company. You can feel totally successful being a great musician. Be a famous musician. Your success is so shallow defined that it really means everything and nothing. And that's where system comes in. They have a definition of, you gotta work hard, you're lazy. Nobody's lazy in this world. The beggar in New York is, when you look at life inclusive, the beggar in New York or in Chicago, in the middle of in the center of the city, with millions of people walking by, is affecting all these people, not in negative or positive. You might don't even look at it, but it's affecting it. So there is nothing. Nature doesn't make mistakes. Nature doesn't make an elephant and say, we don't need elephants really, or we don't need ants really. It doesn't make mistakes. So everybody that is born with a defect, look at me. Should I have killed myself because I don't fit into systems? I cannot contribute according to what the system's requirements are. There is no mistakes. There is no mistakes. We just don't know it, and we need to stop that we know everything. We don't know anything, and that's why these talks are so good, because we can interrelate and distill the wisdom for us out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which is why when I talk about the name of the show, and then I get to the point of success, I specifically make it a point to say, like, hey, whatever success looks like to you,
did, yeah.
right? Like, because like I said, like I said, my thing of success, like I have multiple things of success, right? Like in my day job, my success would be to become the best engineer that I can at my day job. In the podcast, it would be to impact as many people as I can. In fitness, it would be to, I don't know, be between 10 to 15% body fat, right? Like that would be, those are all different markers of success. But to someone else, success might just be like in fitness, like mine being between 10 to 15%, someone else's definition might be like, oh, I just want to, lose 10 pounds. Yeah. Like that might be their term of success, or someone else's success might be they want to just clean up their diet and remove any kind of fast food from it, right? Like it's like you said, success is, it's literally just like, it could be whatever you want it to be, and there's no like one definition of it. Yeah. Right, which is why the first two, the M and the G, are like, they're so focused on, and they're so, if I had to make like a cornerstone as to why, as to everything here that I'm doing, it would be, what is the why, right? If you don't have the intrinsic why, then it's like, what are you doing it for? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, let's say, even if it's something just to like, let's say it is to make money, for example, right? Why do you want to make money? I think it's I forgot where I heard it, but it's a tactic called the 5 whys, right? And that it helps you to get down to the crux reason of whatever it is that you're doing, right? And essentially it is when someone asks you, okay, what's your goal? And you say, let's say to make $1 million. Okay, so 5 whys is literally just ask yourself why 5 times. So you want to make $1 million. Why? Because maybe I just don't want to have to worry about money anymore. Why? Well, because, I just like to have money, be able to go where I want, do what I want, spend the time with whoever I want to spend the time with, travel the world, do this, that, and the other. Why? Because when I grew up, I didn't have a lot of money and I was not able to experience what other people were able to experience. And because of that, I want to be able to live that kind of a life and be able to show people that even if you come from a level of like poverty or something, now I can do something great. Boom, there you go. Now there's your true why. Your true why is not, I want to make a ton of money. Your true why is that you want to show that it's possible to come from a position that wherever you're at to get to this position. And then to you, that is probably the definition of success right there. So it's a good tactic that I heard. I forgot where I got it from, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but it's a really, really good tactic that I heard about that allows you to pretty much dig down into the crux reason as to why you're doing what you're doing.
It's basically always self-awareness. It's self-awareness. Mm-hmm. So it's not, I want to show them that I can do it. That is nothing. What does that mean? That just shows you that you don't feel anything about you. You're valuable because you're born. You don't need to show it. You need to show it to yourself, because your confidence and everything comes to yourself. I have no reason to be confident because of my situation, but I am very confident because I had to do it myself. I had to find myself, and that's why I say the self-awareness and the self-unveiling is the most important, because you grind not because you grind, because everybody grinds. That's actually the worst, because everybody works hard doesn't mean you should work hard. It's you need to work hard to find self, and that could be a sweaty working out, or that could be brain work, asking those questions, right? Those 5 questions. It could be any on the whole spectrum, anything. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I think the motivation is the passion. And I think passion is something that you have. Let's say, you want to work out, you want to have a great body. So that's first of it. And then during working out, you feel better. And then let's say you do work out a year and you feel better, you look better. So what does that do to your motivation? It doesn't weaken them. It's the path. It's the feedback of the path. So if I'm working out for a year and I feel good, not just grinding hard in the gym, that is not it. It is because I'm doing the right exercises. I'm doing what my body likes the best what my body can be, not yours, my body. And then I feel like, wow. And I think the path also, and that's why it's so hard to start things, because you have to get to your part. Once you're working out, you're in the workout and it's a routine. And it's like to find your routine. It's basically all to find yourself. And that's what art does too. I started painting when I was really painting. I painted before, but I really started painting when I was like, I think 28 or something, and I couldn't find, and I had money. At that time, I had enough money, and I couldn't find anything that I liked under $10,000. I just couldn't. I went from gallery to gallery to gallery. And then my best friend told me, why don't you try it yourself? Because you have worked with your uncle, you're creative, why don't you? So I created two paintings, right? So my motivation was, but I didn't like them. And my friend said, hang them up. It's the past that amplifies, that gives the turbocharger to your motivation. So I hung them up, and after a month, my ego was out of the way, and I started liking what I created more and more. Okay. And that's why I think art is such a soup. To understand art, to creation, is basically understand creation. So I liked it more and more, and the more art I did, the more I liked it. The more, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger never stopped working out, but his workout now is a different workout. Is a different workout that he did when he started. So the path is always, and also the feedback loop for you. That is not just somebody that told me you got to work out and you have the girlfriend told me you got to have a good body. So this is you. It's all about you. Everything we do is about you. You want to get the job promotion to show yourself that you can do it.
Right.
I mean, it's everything. So I think it's the passion first. You have to have a passion. There's something in you. There's that M in you. There's something in you that makes you want. That actually says, yes, I can do this. It's almost like you're saying, I want to watch that movie. If you don't have the M, you're not going to watch that movie. There is no way you're going in this movie theater. And it's the same thing as where can I actually execute the 2 hours to enjoy this? So there is this passion loop, and this comes in now. No, I've never thought about it, because of you. It's another thing of creativity. That's why we all interact. It's and that's why this is the second superpower, healthy communication, right? And so I would say that. A movie is a real good example because you're not watching a movie that you have no willingness to do. So you're not, even if everybody says this is the best movie and you don't want to watch it, you're not going to watch it. And I think that's a great metaphor, because please use it. I mean, we created it, anybody use it. Because you say, do I have the motivation? And that's a feedback for, do I want to work out? Do I want to be successful? Do I want to be my job good? Do I have that motivation that I want to experience that movie? And it's like a movie anyway. Our lifestyle like movies, right? I said, do I want to experience that? And if you have that, then you start with it, and then you don't give up. By the first, because life is not supposed to be. This is another lie that's told to us for generation. Life is supposed to be sunny every day.
Oh no!
Yeah, right.
Absolutely not. You're gonna have way more days where you don't feel like getting out of bed than you do jumping out of bed, kicking for joy.
And the system, the system doesn't help you to dissolve this illusion, because the system says, hey, if it's not sunny, we have a pill, we have a Ferrari, we have a face job you can get. We sell you stuff to get to this. And then if you do that, if you buy the Ferrari, if you get the pill, and if you get the face job, and you're not happy, then there's something wrong with you anyway. So don't trust any systems. Trust your own self and your friends, the real friends, and for feedback. But basically, ultimately, you are on your own. This is another truth. You're not with your parents always. You're not with your family. You are on your own. That's why a lot of people make a lot of kids, because they never want to be alone. But they are alone, because most people that have kids, they're not going to take care of their parents. They just say, hey, they put them in a home or whatever, and they're out. So basically, it's not negative. That's not depressing. It's just, every day is not sunny. And life is, you hit it. It's like when I go from here to Chicago, I'm not going to fly a straight route. I always get, the GPS hits me on the right, hits me on the left. And you don't go, if you go extremely right, then it's going to start beeping and whatever and crazy. And that's the same in life. If you don't hear the whispers, you have to hear the shouts, And I said, if we just were aware of this, that success is not interlinked with anything. Fame, money is not interlinked with anything. Look at it as separate energy. The world is not always sunny. See, what do you want, or what is it, a system? Because a system you cannot trust. I mean, it's not like a human. I can trust that you show up here. You can trust that I show up here. You can trust that if I freak out right now, that you have the intrinsic knowledge as a human to handle me. Whatever you do, turn off the thing, whatever, you have the intrinsic, that's why I say humans are superpowers. We are not using our superpowers of creativity, human dialogue, healthy, and adaptability, and seeing that it's all about us and the inclusion. It's not in the separation. We need everyone. We need everyone, rich, poor, and the rich is not bad. The rich shows us our possibilities. Rich is not a bad thing, but it has to be inclusive, and I think it breaks down, the inclusiveness of human breaks down with money, because money is a limited human system created economy, and it is 24/7, and humans need to relax. Then they have seasons, they need to have, the period, they have cycles, so we need to sleep. Economic system doesn't need to sleep. That's why we are so stressed. Because we don't work to live, we live to work. We live to survive. That word that in the old, our ancestors, our generations before us, they worked, then they could go on vacation, they could have extra money to build a house. All that stuff is gone. Because it's exploited. The money moved to, it's automatic, because it's limited. We are not God, That system is flawed in combining with humans. So it's not equally distributed, the money, and it should never be. Not every human is equal. We are all unique, and in this uniqueness, we fit all into the whole. Yeah, everybody has a different strength, and everybody contributes with a different strength. But in money, everything goes to one common denominator, and that doesn't work. And it's 24 hours open. So we need to have economy, but an ethnic economy, because you can't play Monopoly if you have no play money. You can't even get into the game. And if you've never made any money, you have to hustle, which is not an excellent thing. It's just because we're doing it. But you need to have play money, and if you lose all the money in Monopoly, you're out. And it's exactly that what we copy in real life. If you have no money, half of the workforce in the world has $5.50, has to live of $5.50 a day. Half of the workforce in the world. So they have no money to put on the side to get an investment going or savings going to start a business. Yeah, there is the 1 and 2. There's like the Bezos, and not the Bezos in that, if somebody in an underdeveloped country saves $100 and makes something out of it. But those are the little Bezos in that underdeveloped countries. But if you don't have money to put on the side, you can't play the game. And the game is the economy. So when you go to a bank and says, I have no income coming in, I have zero money, how do I make money? Nobody helps you. Zero. No system can help you. Says, but I can't because of this and that. No, you can't. So those are lies that need to be unveiled, and we have to have an ethnic, because there's enough money on this planet. There's enough food on this planet. We produce 3 times as much food as we need, and 25,000 people die a day on hunger. So it's a thing. Do we want to arrange ourselves as human? Are very essential, because without human there is no system. So those things we need to really we need to find, like through this dialogue, for example, find that we are the strong, we are the limitless beings that can create whatever we can. Every problem that I just mentioned can be solved in a second. If we just focus in and be aware, we can all do it. If tomorrow we would say, let's get rid of the definition of gender, race, and sexuality. If we say that, and everybody's a human, and that's it, higher form on this planet. No system has a power to kill human beings, because no system has given life to human beings. If we would say that, and would have all the system adapt to that, we would 75% of problems would be gone.
Gave me a lot to think about right there. That's definitely a lot to think about. Yeah. So would you then, while you were talking, it kind of gave me another question. So would you agree then in saying that instead of living by the systems that we have now, that each person should work to probably create their own system?
I wouldn't say, no. I think systems need to be. We have to have systems. I mean, we're so used to adapt that. I mean, even if tomorrow wouldn't be systems, we could still survive somehow. But I doubt we would, because a sewage system is a sewage system, and we have systems, but we have to be aware, and it's an awareness thing. It's not something we need not only to buy something more or invest or get a new app or relearn stuff. We need to be aware. This is wisdom. This is not knowledge. Knowledge is, it's out in 5 minutes. It's out. So we need to. I think what we need to do is, like you propagated already, because you say you want to be the best that you can be, and if you are the best that you can be, not what the system says you should be. See, the should and the suppose is system words that just. You're supposed to be, as a technician, supposed to be making $100,000. That is system talk, because you can be a very happy technician, with $30,000 and be happy and live somewhere where you want thing and live life. So it doesn't mean anything, the supposed to and you should, because those are system definitions that limited systems can handle us. And I think what we need to do is make people aware of that, and say we have to change all system, that humans and nature is number one. No one person, that system leaders that hide behind the systems can exploit nature, can exploit humanity. We do that anyway in systems, but it's still, like I said, we say we have no slavery anymore, but half of the workforce in the world has to live for $5.50. I mean, you know what I mean? So who we should? Yeah. Okay, you are a black person in America now, and there's no slaveries. You just were that race that exposed that. Slaveries happened since the beginning of mankind. It happened in Greece. It happened in Rome, Romans. You just. The race that actually stood up and made us aware, made us conscious, and look how many stereotypes of races have you experienced that were correct. I've never experienced those stereotypes. Yeah, there's one or two traits, but is it more the alignment that the stereotype adapts to itself? To the stereotype, or are they really? I find that that a race adapts to their own race. So because that's why we wanna be inclusive. That's why we we are herd animals, right? We want to belong to something. And I think we adapt things that, and see, I don't have that because of my weird situation. I see that, but I don't have it because I don't feel myself as a white person or a European or Viennese or American. I feel myself as a human because I couldn't fit in any system. I don't fit in any system. Oh, there's a real white guy. You know, look at him. He's the white guy. I'm not a white guy. I listen to EPMD. I listen to Miles Davis. White guys listen to Miles Davis. But let's say all cultures. I love all cultures. I'm immersed in all cultures, but I'm from the definition, like a saber-toothed tiger, if that comes in my cave, I recognize it's a saber-toothed tiger or it's a little cat, So that's a definition in our reptilian brain that we recognize, you are a different color than I am. But so we can never get rid that I don't think that or you think that I'm white. We can never. That's just a recognition. But if you focus right away on human, which you did, and I did too, we clicked like that, right? We did, there wasn't an issue. Hey, oh my God, I didn't expect you were black, or you didn't expect I was white. You know what I mean? So we clicked right away because our humanity knows we are all part of each other. So and that is, I think. That is something, if we can get that across, you said, should we do our own system? No, I think the system is, we are all humans. It's not even gender, obviously there are genders, but it's not about gender, it's not about race, it's not about sexuality, it's just all humans and everybody's a part of the big whole. And therein is the power, and to balance that big thing, is where the power is, because that's in nature. The balance is, it's where it is.
Mm-hmm. So I guess what I'm getting from this then is that if we take all of this, like the whole, the 53 minutes we've been talking so far, right? And we were to summarize it into like a bottom line, what I'm understanding is that we are all human, right? We all need to essentially work together to accomplish a common goal of whatever we set that main goal to be as humanity. That is what we all need to align to do. Instead of just somebody wants to do something, so they try to get over on somebody else, or somebody wants to get something, so maybe they seek help from other people, but then they also exclude some other people from that. That should all just whoop out the window. There we go. Done with that. We all need to just align on one thing and one goal, and then push towards that.
Yeah. And not you don't have to hug it. You don't. It's like when I look at a paint. That's why I say art is such a superpower, because art doesn't. When you see a beautiful artwork, everybody loves it. You don't have to love it. You don't have to hug now everybody because you say we are all humans. It's a recognition in you. It's not an outward action that you have to do. It's a recognition of, hey, we're not doing this anymore. I don't get. Are you Hispanic? Are you this? Are you that? I cringe every time I have to fill this out, and I say I'm not even defining myself, because it is just to define yourself in any social, system or whatever. You have to insurance or whatever. What are you? What's your income? Who cares? Who cares? The system is not giving me a better service because I have more or less income. It's just to navigate us. And to help the limited system survive. Let's say if the system is outdated, let's get rid of it. Let's make a new one. Let's create a new, which you see already. Amazon is going now in healthcare. It's create a new system, because healthcare doesn't work. You know that. I think every fifth person is only okay with the healthcare. And they're probably healthy. So let's do some, and not system defined. Oh, you can only, millions of years we survived with nature in, having herbs or whatever that made us healthy. Throw all that out and be only, where we make money. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because it eliminates those people that don't have money. The system, because every system is built on money, so money is the absolute goal. So, and it doesn't work. It doesn't help us, and we need to be aware. It's an awareness crisis. The world is right now is a consciousness crisis. It's not something to change. The change will happen because if I say, hey, listen, you have a blotch on your forehead, yeah, which you don't have, but I'm saying if you had that, you can ignore it, but you're acting towards it. You're conscious. I said you have a blotch on your forehead. So it's all about consciousness. It's not about knowledge. It's not about doing this, doing that. It's what are we doing, and let's resolve all these misunderstandings. You know, inclusive doesn't mean everybody is the same. You know, an ant and an elephant are not the same, but they are value and you know, accept each other because they're part of the whole. They're not hugging.
Right.
An elephant can hug an ant and kiss it and say, "Oh, I love you, ant." They just exist. They coexist in this world, and if we get that out of the conversation, that you see everybody as a reflection, you know, and see the good stuff, and instead of cringing and saying, "Oh, I'm looking at Apple or Nike or whatever," and then cringe inside because I wish I had that shiny thing, and that's the shiny syndrome, you know. That's the psychology goes into that we put there's almost nothing shiny in the world, you know that, right? There's almost in nature is almost nothing shiny except the water when the sun hits it, you know. So we are so, and a couple of bugs, you know, that have shiny things, but there is no shiny thing, and so we think it's shiny, it's better. Apple is not Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was just a seed from that. You know, it's not that person. It is we all created Nike, and we were actively or inactively, you and I don't know if you did work for Nike, but I'm saying you and I were inactively for participating in Apple. And that's how I see it. And we're also inactive looking at the war in Ukraine, right? 80,000 people died in 5 months, you know? So soldiers, not people, more people. But so we're looking at this spectrum of creativity and possibility and saying, wow, if we all work together, we can solve all these problems. Why do we have to create 3 times as much food and still 25,000 people die of hunger? Why?
Man, I wish I had the answer for you.
There's your 5 whys.
Unfortunately, I don't.
Put your 5 whys.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wish we could. We could try the 5 whys on that one, but again, if you can come to so many different conclusions with that one. Like to me, I'm like there has to be some kind of like big motive behind why that's the case. And again, with this not terminology, with this mindset that you have and everything, you can apply this to like so much. Yep. Right. And it kind of leads into one more question that I had for you is that throughout all of this, right, I kind of got another idea of you talking about kind of like a creative voice, yeah. Right? You talk about creative voice. Can you explain like what is creative voice and like, you know, and after talking with you, that kind of answered my second question. Do we all have one?
Yes.
Yeah, we all have a creative voice. And then since we know that we all have a creative voice, can you pretty much just explain what that is and how do we truly harness that with everything that you've been saying?
I wrote it's a part of my book, but I sent you a PDF on that, and you can put it in the episode so that people can actually access it. Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in the notes.
The process to do it's 54 questions. They are in 3 sections, and you do it whenever you do, and it's basically it's making physical your essence. Your essence, not as a male, not as a race, not as a sexuality. Finding your highest possible radiation of who you are. Defining it. So defining it so you can verbalize, almost like a brand work, like a vision statement, but a vision statement not for something we created, or we want to create, but a vision statement of us. And now the things fall into place because you said this is almost making your own system. you defining your essence of the essence that you being outside of being gender, race, sexuality. What is your essence? I like this. I tend to gravitate to this. It makes you self-aware. That's a part of that class that I did in 2015 and updated it till then. And you go through that document, and you, whenever you feel comfortable, there's no hard feelings. It's because it's the past. It's if you take for this a year, then it's a year. If you do it you can do it in a day, in a half a day. But if you do it, you come back to it. You come back and you refine it. Okay, I like, what do I usually wear? What am I attracted to? What are the aesthetics that I like? There's so many questions in there. If I had to do something, it's like the why question. It's like, why am I liking this? It's the question, the power is always in the question, because it makes us aware. Yeah? It's not about the answer. And nobody will see this. This is just for you. So you know why you are always attracted to blonde girls. Or you want always a BMW. You don't want a Mercedes. Or you want a Mercedes, you don't want a BMW. What brands attract you and why? Why are these brands attracting you? And is it about, and so it's making you self-aware about your essence. So I am a loud person. I am a strong contrast. I'm fearless in a lot of ways. I use colors that you wouldn't usually use all the time. So I'm not afraid. I don't need to get tone in tone. I try to be as truthful as I can, and you see that all in my art. I try to capture you, and the capturing is not about capturing you, but the more I am me, the more I capture you. And that's what the voice is, and the creative voice. So you're not looking, how can I do, like so many on Instagram, try to get attention to do something crazy. That's not your essence. That's getting attention for attention's sake. And everybody can do this. You just need to undress in the middle of the street. You get attention. There is not much to think about or contemplate. Yeah, you just pull down your pants in the middle of the street, and you have all the attention. You have a lot of people film you and then put it on social media. Yeah, I mean.
Oh boy.
It's about our essence. It's about. It's defining, and then also this draws you into that we're all very unique, and that we are, and to find what is that I can contribute. I mean, look at me. I never thought I would have anything to say, or anything that's valuable other than I do my art or whatever and hope that it sells. And now I find out, in the last year or so, since I finished the last book, I found out, but I dove into myself and what I didn't understand. I asked myself, like you say, the 5 whys. I asked myself, why? Why is that? Yeah, and then I found that self, and then all of a sudden, it's almost you click and say, okay, I am a puzzle piece. I'm a piece of that human puzzle, and I'm okay with that. Whatever. I'm not the fastest runner. I'm not the best bodybuilder. I'm not the smartest technician. I have no idea about that. But I am a piece of the puzzle, and it's not defined either. I know what this is. I know now I have the feeling of being a puzzle of humanity. And I think that gives you peace. That takes stress away. Because I think the non-knowing, the thinking it needs to be sunshine every day, you need to be successful, you need to have money, you need to support your family, you need to, all these need to, should do, whatever, are just confusing us. And why are they confusing us? Because everybody believes it, and we are herd animals. So we go by an intuition and say, oh, you believe that too, it must be right. So you don't trust it because that's also a safety, that the whole, it's a safety mechanism that humans keep developing themselves. And if you get array or disturbed, that you're not upsetting the whole system. You do upset the whole system, but
Yeah, that's definitely a lot to think about right there, man. You gave me a lot to think about, Michael. A lot to think about, man. just how we live life, generally speaking. Because like I said, like I said before, we were talking before.
Yeah.
Like I come from a very heavy systems.
Yeah.
Like a systems heavy thing like that. That is my job title, right? With my day job, I am a systems engineer. It was my job to work with systems. So with this talk that we had, I'm definitely going to be looking at the systems that we have and definitely incorporating some of what we were saying before and just saying instead of just saying we do this for this, I'll even take my own advice and be like, why are we doing it this way? Why isn't there a better way to do this? Why is the
how to make it humane? How to
this?
make it humane?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I give you one thing.
Absolutely.
One thing for you that for all this thing, AI, right? There's this new this new AI search engine or a website where you can literally, the latest thing is to actually do words and then it creates a photo of you. AI renders a photos of you of whatever. So you can say, I want a sushi house for a dog. It makes you a sushi house of a dog photo. So it generates.
I think, yeah.
So that's
I think I've heard of something like that before.
Okay, so now check out this. And it says everything. It says everything about how limited systems are and how unlimited humans are. So all the systems should always say, okay, what is the human doing? Because so I put in the word hello, just hello. And what it prompted me, it worked like I think 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, it got me 9 renderings of photos. And all there was one photo or two photos were a mixture between a cat and a human. The other 7 were only cats. And I said, damn, what the hell is this? I said, hello. I would expand as a human, right? From a human perspective, I would say this, whatever. It's like, hi, hello.
Maybe in some 3D text or something.
Oh, yeah, 3D text, hello, or whatever. And why? Because Hello Kitty. The EI Hello Kitty is such a phenomenon. Okay. And I didn't even write kitty. I was so, I really, there was no intent in me to kill AI or anything. But it shows you that how flawed it is. And it gets better. So what? Hello that's a greeting of humans. So and also as a system, I'm so happy that you told me that. There is when you want to say human potential, no social media has human potential. I want to say what is me, what is my keywords about me. It's finding our human potential, right? It's not available. It's humanity. It's not available. Any social thing, if that you can put that in as a hashtag, but not in Twitter or anything as a selection of who you are. Isn't that amazing? That humanity is actually not
interesting.
So what I'm saying is to you is be a pioneer and say, listen, we need to make all the systems. And also what we have is, see, this is what doesn't work. We use time as an inferior thing. So when I'm your age, I don't think about time. But time is actually Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs have the same time that we have. We all have the same time, whatever that average time is. If not, something happens. And it can be taken away from us any time. And so if I need to sit and not getting the answer on a system, through a system, and I think that's that frustration that's going on, and that's why people don't do anything. When I have to fill out at a doctor's office for 10 pages, and next I go to the next doctor, I have 10 pages again, 10 pages and 10 pages, and then get 10 minutes with the doctor. I'd rather have 20 minutes with the doctor and fill out one time the page. That's it. It's not human adapt, it's system adapt. It's because we're adaptive and we're not conscious about this is our life force, our time. When you go to the doctor, you are exhausted at the end of the day because you spent all that energy to just get a result and information. Are you okay? Are you not okay? Do we need to do something? Whatever. So it is very inefficient. So if you go to a right doctor, he looks at you, he says, okay, let me do this, get this blood panel and gone. That would be a better, because nobody's as good as a human to find it. Obviously, when you plug him in, you see all the stuff, but you see a momentarily issue. You see an issue that right now you have cancer, but you know that it's also known that you have cancer a lot of times in your life, and it goes away. Like you cut yourself, and the body heals itself. So we are not looking at body or anything as a human. We accept that, okay, when you cut yourself, it's supposed to heal. But it's supposed to heal, so we can't do anything about it. But then on the other hand, we say, we work it in like a car. I did analytics. The car drives fine, but your spark plug is thing. You need to change that. And when you look, you find. You look, you find. You always find things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a human thing. That's not. We're not supposed to find problems. We're supposed to live life and raise our human potential with conversations like this. You know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Man, you.
I know.
You took me away. I know. It was a good conversation. You know, you got me thinking about a lot today, man. You got me thinking about a lot, and just generally just how we live our lives and everything. So I mean, I'm definitely walking away from this conversation feeling like a whole new man right now. Just like, man, there's a lot of stuff that, you know, just every day we just kind of took for granted. Yep. And everything, and we just kind of lived it, and we're just like, yep, this is just kind of how it is, and we never really like took a chance or took some time to question it and say, well, why is it the way that it is? How do we know it can't be better? How do we know, why are we excluding certain people from certain things when it's maybe just hinged on some kind of maybe outdated belief of something,
outdated systems, because the English.
There we go.
Okay, we have white people in us primarily. Okay, there is a black person, there is an Asian person. What are we going to do with them? How can the system handle this? And how do we know that they were not English? English is the best. You know, I'm just saying this as an example. You know, it is a system dynamic that we, because we are so adaptable, integrated and copied. We are not racist. We just copied the things. Oh, we always did it, you know. And now we need to say the same thing on both sides, you know. We say it on both sides. So we just adapted a system stuff, and that's what's so dangerous. That's why I'm saying we need to be conscious. That's about human and nothing. And that's why I did my podcast, you know, the Smart of Art podcast. It's 20 seconds, 30 seconds. It's just a quote twice a week to think. And when you think about the quote, it makes life better. It's all my quotes. It's not copied from anybody. It's all my quotes. And you just listen to it, and it makes your enjoyment of your creation at least double. It doubles the joy of your creation. It doubles the joy of art too. You know, when you look at art, because you will understand it from a more. I try to pivot you into where you're supposed to be, a human. Because we're not supposed to be living. See, metaverse, another thing. Just really quick, metaverse. Metaverse. We're living in a metaverse already. We're not. We already living in a system. We experience humanity through systems. That's a metaverse. That is from us created. That is our universe. And now, if we do another metaverse in this system, that metaverse is going to be more distorting us. It's going to drive us more away from our essential power.
Man, reminds me of that quote from The Matrix. You're living in a dream world, Neo. That was a great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. All right, you kind of already answered my last question. Since it's getting about that time where we have to start wrapping up the episode now. So you already kind of went into one of the last questions that I had, which was going to be well. Before we get to that one, which is going to be like the call to action and things. If as I always say at the end of the episodes, let's say there was somebody who has been asleep this entire episode for some reason and was not getting all this knowledge or anything. What is one bottom line thing that you would bestow to this person? Like I say, they just woke up, they're just like, oh my gosh, I just wasted, how long are you recording? An hour and 16 minutes, right? They just tuned back in and just like, oh, I don't want to go back and listen to this whole thing. What's one piece of advice you can give out to that one person that they can really get from this episode? It's probably going to be kind of difficult.
No, there is a piece. But I think the most powerful thing is understand that humanity is inclusive. The absolute power is not in money or power over. It's in everybody is the best. Everybody's part of the whole, synergistically. And you're valuable because you exist. And see that, and see the difference between nature, that you're valuable, that you exist, and system, because system can use your value. So you're limited in the system. If you get that, you're key. That's key.
Absolutely. Great statement right there. And the final question I have for you is that now that we got to the end of all this, where can people find you? Where can people find your work? Where do you want people to go after this? Where do you want them to find out more information about what you do? Just any kind of thing you want people to take some action on after this episode.
I would say get my free podcast, subscribe to it, let the episode, there's nothing to do, there's nothing to know, it's just allow it to percolate in you. Just read the thing. If it makes no sense, it's fine. There's a question, it's nothing. It should be fun. It should be your excitement to say, hey, I want to live life more conscious, more self-aware. So listen to that. There's 100 episodes there. You can get my book and buy the Kindle version because you can have it read to you. As you see from this interview, and I would encourage everybody to listen a couple times to this interview because I'm putting a lot, Roshan gave me a beautiful canvas, a beautiful white canvas and really big, so I could really paint a lot of pictures, but it's a lot in there and it helped me to be who I am. And it's not from, Tony Robbins said that, or this person said that, or this philosopher. It is what I can prove that works for me and works for other people too. And people told me that it works for them too. And you go to michaellam.com. It's one hub that gets you everywhere, to the book, the podcast, the social media, LinkedIn, my phone number, to get my coaching, get my education. And it's michaellam.com. Michael with 2 L's, m.com. michaellam.com is the one hub that you can get in touch with me. And just give Roshan some feedback, how you like it, and let him know, because the power is in our conversation. We need to start a conversation, and it's not for or against. That's system talk. For or against, good, bad is always system talk. There is no such thing. When you get on a certain level, you will see everything has a reason, or everything is a symptom of. So just give him feedback and let's start a discourse. The more discourse we have, it is exponentially more powerful than reading 15 books or looking at social media and say what they say. It's about human talk. And everybody's on the iPhone. Oh my God, this iPhone is horrible. Everybody's on the iPhone because we are herd animals and we have that desire that we are inclusive. That's why everybody's on the iPhone. Everybody wants to connect. It's not the addiction to the iPhone. That's a total lie, system lie. It's completely, the addiction is, we're addicted to being inclusive with all other humans. That's what we're addicted for.
Man, giving information to the very last minute, man. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And we can't have that anytime because I haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah, I bet. And like I said, guys, if you want to go, all the links and everything that he said, it's going to be in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be in the description. Yeah. Go check it out. Go show Michaell some love. And so with all that, did you want to say something else?
We're going to give you, I sent you the voice document. So the people that go to your episode get the free voice thing. That's a course. They get that free course. Mm-hmm. When it comes to you, you put a link in it. I send you the PDF, and then people can go through to find themselves. Be self-aware.
Yep, and I'll add that all into, and once I get that, I'll definitely add that into the show notes and the description and everything. So that way, anybody who comes along, whether 3 years from now when they see this, whenever, they'll always have access to this. So. Yes, so with all that out of the way, guys, I'm going to bring this week's episode, unfortunately, to a close. Thank you so much for tuning in today. But before you do go, 3 quick requests from you. Number 1, subscribe to the show if you found it useful, and be on the lookout for new episodes every week. Number 2, let me know what you thought about this episode, and as Michaell said, about this Discord, about the conversation that we had. Let me know your thoughts. I really want to start seeing some comments, start seeing some discussions being formed from this. And lastly, if you're feeling it, follow me on social media. All the links to that will also be in the description, and this description is going to be loaded with information. So I hope you guys go through all that. And guys, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next episode.